Hello, English with Jane today is reading the 5th part of the Alice in Wonderland story. Now, Alice, where did we get to? Yes. Alice followed the rabbit down the rabbit hole and she joined the Mad Hatter for a lovely tea party. And after the tea party, oh yes, what about the Cheshire Cat that you saw? And once you followed the Cheshire Cat, didn't you come to a long passage? Oh, I remember now, right at the end of the last section we read, Alice was looking through a long passage, and at the end of the passage was a wonderful palace. So, are you sitting comfortably? Then let us begin our reading. "That is the palace of the Queen of Hearts," said a voice beside Alice. She turned, and there was the White Rabbit. He blew a long note on a trumpet he was holding. Alice ran towards the palace, but 2 lines of soldiers dressed like playing cards appeared and stopped her. Soon the Queen of Hearts herself arrived. Alice could hardly believe that this was a queen. She was quite ugly and very unpleasant. Well, see for yourself. "Who are you and what are you doing here?" cried the Queen of Hearts in an angry voice. "I'm Alice, your Majesty, and I've lost my way." "Your way? Don't you know that all the roads belong to me?" shouted the Queen. Then she became suddenly calm. "Do you know how to play croquet, little girl?" she asked. Croquet," stammered Alice. "Well, yes, a little." "Then let us play," cried the Queen. Well, it was a very curious game. A hedgehog was used as a ball, and 2 flamingos were used as the mallets. The Queen played very badly, but everyone clapped her. Alice decided that it would be sensible to play badly too, so as not to annoy the Queen by winning. "Well done, little girl, well done," cried the Queen as Alice missed a shot. Everyone was happy except the Cheshire Cat, who crept up behind the Queen of Hearts and bit her in the leg. Oh dear me, what might happen next? Bump! The Queen fell over on the lawn and was completely covered by her huge skirt. "Help, help, I'm suffocating!" she cried. Everyone was laughing so much, and only the little King of Hearts, who was very timid, seemed worried. When the Queen got to her feet again, the Cheshire Cat had disappeared. Who was she going to blame? Why, Alice, of course. And what will happen to Alice now? Alice was taken into the palace, where the Queen of Hearts sat on an enormous throne. "Alice," shouted the Queen, "you are guilty of making a fool of the Queen of Hearts, and for that you will be hanged, poisoned, and have your head cut off." The timid King of Hearts spoke up at once. "Excuse me, your Majesty," he said, but no one can be hanged, poisoned, and have their head cut off. The law doesn't allow it." "The law!" screamed the Queen. "I am more important than the law." Alice listened to all this in dismay. How could she possibly escape? Suddenly she felt a mushroom in her pocket. The magic mushroom, green or pink. She hesitated, then took a bite from the pinkish side. And whilst I turn over the page in the book, I wonder if you know whether the pinkish side will make Alice grow bigger or smaller. Let's see. Goodness gracious! Who was the most important now? Alice, as big as a tower, leaned down over the Queen. Forget everything I said, Alice, stammered the Queen. Oh, why can't we just be friends? Alice decided not to stay and talk anymore. She ran as fast as she could, scattering the cardboard soldiers. Remember those playing cards? The soldiers are all scattered everywhere. But oh dear, here was a new problem. She was now much too big to get through the door.